Yo, Rent Free Gang, Splashway Beats, Splash and a check-in. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for tuning in. Let me turn this down a little bit. All right, we'll just wait for more people to get into the chat room, get into the live. I appreciate everybody for tuning in and supporting the platform throughout these last couple of months, really throughout the years, but especially within the last couple of months. All right, I appreciate it. I appreciate it a lot. Okay, I just posted up a new video in the Facebook group last night. Well, last night for me, this morning for you guys. So if you guys want to listen to it, check it out. Click the link in the description box below. I talk about how you guys need to start checking people who disrespect you living abroad. All right. I need to do an entire live talking about it, how black people need to stop being so soft. Hold on, where's the... I want to turn on this fan. This AC, hold on. Here we go. My bad. But like I was saying, I want black people to stop being so soft whenever they travel. All right. I want black people, like, if something bothers you, if something offends you, say something. You know, you got a lot of people who travel abroad who are just way too optimistic about everything. You know what I'm saying? And then when you do check somebody and then, you know, you let somebody else know that's black about why you had to check somebody, it's like all of a sudden they want to say, well, they don't know any better. You know, be respectful to them and this, that. So they start caping for the other race of people. And you guys need to stop doing that because nobody does that for you. I really need to do a live stream talking about, you know, reciprocal treatment. Okay, I'm a firm believer of treating people the way they treat you. That's pretty much how you're going to get respect. If you don't like the way I'm treating you, don't treat me this way. And basically we'll get along because I don't have to go nowhere. We don't tell your people that you have to get up and leave back home in America. We open our arms up to you. You know, it's not like we're trying to assimilate into your culture. The laws are the laws, the rules are the rules, but you're going to respect me while we're having this conversation. So I talk about an incident that actually did happen yesterday. All right. I'll go into detail about it. You guys can check out the Facebook group. Listen to that story. I think it's about 8 minutes long. And I need to do an entire live stream about that. Because me personally, if I was Asian, I'd be offended at how a lot of blacks view me as like an overgrown adolescent. Like we're just a group of people who don't know any better. You know, a lot of blacks, they treat, you know how you got kids, like you're at a daycare or whatever, or you're looking out for some kids, or you're dealing with a child that's right next to you, right? And at a certain age, man, you might have some kids who they might give you the finger, they might curse you out, they might throw something at you, they might boo-boo in their pants and take the boo-boo and try to throw it at you. And depending on the age, you're just supposed to take it because they don't know any better. You know, a lot of black people, they treat adults out here abroad, especially in Asian society, as toddlers, like as if they don't know any better. You know, somebody will disrespect you, and just because there's an accent behind when they're trying to speak English to you and it's broken and there's an accent behind it, you're supposed to treat them as if they're a toddler and they don't know any better. And that's a crock of bullshit. It's not cute. It's not funny. You know, I'm not saying somebody literally threw boo-boo on. That's not what I'm saying. That's why I say you should click on the Facebook group. Listen. All right. Listen to the story. You know what I'm saying? And for anybody that says, hey man, why didn't you hear that person out? Oh, you overreacted. If I see any comments like that, you're getting up out of that group, because I've been traveling a lot longer than you. I have way more experience. I know people out here a lot better than you. And if you try to question me and get off code and try to come at me for it, then I'm getting you up out of the room. Everybody doesn't have to have the same exact opinion on me as everything, but certain things I'm having zero tolerance for. That's something I have zero tolerance for. That's something that we need to change the minds of a lot of black males. And that's going to tie into today's topic, because, the book, we are reviewing the first 2 chapters of Save Yourself Black Men by I think it was Mad Bus Driver who wrote this, right? I don't know if he puts his government name in there. Okay, Mad Bus Driver. We'll just say Mad Bus Driver. Okay, because you hear that a lot. You hear that talking point a lot on the internet, where a lot of black males, they say, hey, in order to solve these issues that a lot of black males are facing in the community or whatever, that you're just supposed to get a passport and travel abroad and get away from everything. And let me tell you, some of the things that you're running away from, you're part of the problem. Okay? You're not running away from anything because everybody else is acting this way and there's nothing wrong with you. No, there's something wrong with you as well. You need to fix it and get your mind right before. There's nothing wrong with traveling. I think black people should travel. But the thing about it is what makes a cake, even the smallest ingredients make a cake. You know what I'm saying? And it makes a difference. The flour, the eggs, the vanilla, the teaspoon of vanilla, the icing, the baking soda. All right. Whipping up the batter. Okay. The type of cake that you're making, the icing. There's a difference between just a circular, round, traditional cake, and you got these cakes nowadays where it looks real. I saw a cake yesterday on Instagram actually on TikTok, where it was a chair. And there's a guy commenting on it. He said, why are you cutting into that chair? And it was a cake. All right. So the thing about it is even though you might be the teaspoon of that cake, even though you just might be the eggs of that cake, you still play an important role of the dysfunction that's going on in black society in America, out west. You still play an important role, even though you think you don't, because image is everything. And that's where we're going to tie everything in today. But like I'm saying, one of the things that make up your image is you lacking to hold others accountable and checking them for it. I don't give a damn if they didn't even know. You learn the hard way, because let me tell you, when you get your passport and you travel abroad, you learn the hard way. People don't give you no slack out here. They don't give you no slack out here. If it's your first time learning something, nobody's talking to you nicely out here. They're checking you for it. People are checking you for it. Salute to Corey J. Salute to Funny Bone 539. Still can't get over Kevin Samuels. Rest in peace. Yeah, like I I was talking about him the other day. I said, you know, if he's in a better place, depending on your belief system, because I don't believe in a heaven or hell, but if you believe he's in a better place and, you know, showing respect to those who are religious, you know, I believe he's in a better place, then it's a time to be happy, and it's not a time to be selfish. You know what I'm saying? But he was taken away from us too soon. He was taken away from us at the worst time ever, when we needed him the most, when he was at his peak. He was just getting started, right? And, you know, I'm angry that he's gone, because it's like the divestors, the ratchet women that are out here, you know, they were celebrating, and those type of women, his message didn't have a negative effect on married women. Married women and women who were in relationships, functional relationships, they didn't have anything negative to say about Kevin Samuels. It was baby mamas, those who were single, over the hill, women with attitudes who had a problem with Kevin Samuels. All right, so I don't feel no kind of way against, hit dogs gonna holler, and those hit dogs that were hollering, I don't feel sorry for them, because he was nice to you in the beginning, and you showed your ass when he called. You showed how you really felt about men when you called, and you're showing how you really feel about black men after this man has passed. So, now more than ever, men are really going to stay away from a lot of these ratchet ass women that are out here. Those type of women that Kevin Samuels was talking about. So once again, rest in peace to Kevin Samuels. But anyways, you guys out here, when you come abroad, man, you need to check these, because getting a passport is not going to solve your problems. And a lot of you guys, you come out here, and the first thing you want to do is isolate yourself from everybody. And then when you get caught up in a negative situation, the first thing you want is you want to beg and plead to people that are local that are mistreating you, or something unfair that is bringing you some sort of injustice. All right. You want to beg and plead to them. That's not working. Then you want to beg and plead to blacks. And that's another thing, man. There was a troll who came on this platform a couple of months ago. All right. And one of the things on his stream was like, this is how blacks treat each other. This is that and the third. Blacks this, blacks that. But mind you, I'm telling you, this guy has been trolling me for years. Okay, this guy has been anonymously trolling me for years. So, mind you, his content, he was saying a lot of coonish shit throughout the years in general. All right. So you got a lot of people like that, where they'll get up on social media, and that coon that I'm talking about, I mean, there's videos of him saying, I'm ashamed to be black and this, that, and the third, Then when you want the public opinion to be on your side because you made a video first about it, right? You made a public video first about it. You want to say, oh, look at blacks, look how they treat each other. But I mean, you've been making coonish videos throughout the years, isolating yourself from everybody. I've never isolated myself from black people. I never isolated myself from black society. I always keep hope alive. I'm always pushing the agenda forward. I'm always saluting everybody. I've always encouraged everybody to create their own business so that I can promote you guys on here for free. You know what I'm saying? I don't ask money for you guys to promote your business for free. I ask for donations for you to show your appreciation so that I can keep making these videos. You know what I'm saying? Because originally I wanted to do 5 chapters today, but I only could do 2 because of how busy I am. All right. Salute to Kevin Mayfield, $25 super chat donation. I thank you. Peace King. I appreciate all you do. Keep doing your thing. Man, I appreciate you, Kevin Mayfield. This is my first time seeing your name. But, you know, see, it's guys like Kevin Mayfield that makes me that allows me to keep pushing the agenda forward and keep making these videos, because I feel like, man, you know, even though I have a small voice, I'm a small tadpole in a big pond, in a big sea, in the big ocean, the big ocean. You know what I'm saying? I feel like voices like mine are much needed, and people are depending on my word. And like I said, I've never steered anybody astray. You know what I'm saying? I don't steer, you know, I never steer you wrong. All right. I would never steer you wrong. Salute to Russian Spy. Thank you for the $5 super chat donation. Oh, one more thing, man. This live stream is brought to you by Russian Spy. Okay. So I should have said that in the beginning. I apologize. Guys, the person behind this live stream today, for this review today, is the brother Russian Spy. And we don't always agree on everything, but he's a supporter, and that's our brother. All right. So the reason for this topic today is because of Russian Spy. So if Russian Spy or Kevin Mayfield, if you guys have a social media platform that you want to promote, you guys have a business that you want to promote, man, even if it doesn't matter if you left a donation or not, if you guys have a business that you want to promote, let me know so I can promote you guys, because I've been saying this for months and nobody has created anything. I'm kind of disappointed about that. But other than that, for those who have donated, man, I salute you. I appreciate you. And like I said, one more time, Russian Spy is the reason behind today's live stream. Okay, so let's get into today's topic. All right, we're going to do the first 2 chapter reviews of Save Yourself, Black Men, the book created by Mad Bus Driver, brought to you by Russian Spy. Okay, about a month or 2 ago, he made a hefty donation, and he said, hey, can you review this book made by Mad Bus Driver? Okay. Now, I remember years ago, you started hearing about the acronyms Save Yourself, Black Men, and MGTOW. Okay. Hold on one more time. We have another $5 super chat donation by Russian Spy. Slaying single mothers in a neighborhood near you. Just kidding. Salute. Haha. Thank you again for Russian Spy. All right, for the $5 super chat donation. Okay, so I remember a couple years ago, I was doing live streams. For those who are day one, and the only people that I see that are in the chat who were day ones is Fred. I interviewed Fred like about a month or 2 ago. Actually, a couple weeks ago. I interviewed Fred. Yeah, it was last month. I interviewed Fred last month. Okay, he's day one. Okay. Be the Great is day one. The homie, I don't want to put his name out there, but the homie, what name did I give him? His first letter of his name starts with D. All right, so I interviewed him twice. We did the anime interview, the anime live stream, and the Spain live stream. I interviewed him about Spain. Okay. He's day one also. Okay, I've known him before I even made a YouTube channel. Okay. And I remember around about that time when I was doing live streams, this was my second time being in Thailand. This was back in like 2016, 2017. I started to hear about these acronyms, right? Salute to all those Bugle Boy jeans you're wearing. I love that name because that's from that Trick Daddy song. Promote Bugle Boy jeans. Let's bring back the 1980s and 1990s. Hilarious. Okay. Salute to Bugle Boy or those Bugle Boy jeans you're wearing for the $5 super chat donation. All right. Now, I remember the acronyms a couple years ago, back in like 2017. I started to hear about MGTOW and Save Yourself Black Men. All right. And at that time, I kind of gravitated towards, I'm not going to say gravitated, but I like the acronym of Save Yourself Black Men more than MGTOW, because MGTOW, even though if it flows when you say it, it's an acronym that you can say. You don't have to pronounce every letter. It's just MGTOW, right? 2-syllable acronym. The meaning behind it was like men going their own way, and I didn't like that. I'm like, not that I didn't understand what they were trying to say. It was just, okay, where are you going? Men going their own way, and I'm like, where the hell are you going? I think MGTOW was started by whites. If I'm not mistaken, it was started by a group of white guys. And a lot of brothers tried to join that group. But the thing about it is, man, is if one of the things in MGTOW, you're talking about traveling, then brothers, you need to create your own. Okay. And that's another thing when it comes to traveling. You have a lot of these little chat groups, these line groups, and there are always somebody who's like the administrator of these groups that is whacked out of his mind, you know, extremely odd and strange. And they always bring in non-black people, which there's nothing wrong, but they bring in non-black people who are disrespectful, and they allow them to keep on continuing with the disrespect. And when we call them out or they bring it to the administrator's attention, they say, oh, they're not racist, let them do their thing, this, that, and the third. So you see what I'm saying? Like, traveling abroad, this is why a lot of people isolate themselves from other blacks, is because there's a lot of mental issues that we need to address when it comes to getting your passport and traveling abroad, right? So MGTOW was like men going their own way, but I think it was started by whites. A lot of brothers complained about racism, and then I believe they created Save Yourself Black Men. Okay, now you can't say SYSBM, you know, it doesn't really flow like MGTOW, but still, at the end of the day, I like the acronym of Save Yourself Black Men, because, you know, even though like the acronym doesn't flow like MGTOW, I like what the letters represent and what it stands for. And you're not telling you, hey, I'm going the opposite direction, because, you know, go in the opposite direction, that means, you know, and if that's what you want to do, if that's your sexual preference, then so be it. I'm not against anybody who lives a lifestyle, that type of lifestyle, but that's what it sounded like. It was like, I'm going in the opposite direction of women. You know what I'm saying? That's what it sounded like when they say MGTOW. All right, so I like Save Yourself Black Men. I don't know if Mad Bus Driver created that acronym. If he did, you know, salute to him. But yes, a lot of men, they need to look out for themselves and save themselves, because I felt like that was the message. That's the message that a lot of us are pushing. Now, I would never tell you to isolate yourself and step over black women and in general. That's never been my message. I would never say don't try to, if you have a cooperative black woman on your team, right? Don't get rid of her just to get with somebody white. No. Or to get with somebody non-black. No, I always promote black relationships, black loves first. Okay. But if what you're looking for is not in, if you haven't found what you're looking for in a black woman, and some of us that are listening right now, we're in our 20s, we're in our 30s, some of us are in our 40s, 50s, man, I would say, man, you know, I told this to, I even said this to my moms, you know what I'm saying? But I said this to some of my partners years ago. I said, dude, I'm at this age right now. I'm in my early 30s, early to mid 30s right now. Okay. If my 3 decades of living on this life, I have never met a cooperative, submissive, agreeable black woman who could be on my team. You know what I'm saying? To me, it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist in my world. Okay. And a lot of people, they want to question, well, where are you meeting these women? You know, and they always want to assume the worst. You hear, when I was in university, I've heard Asian women in my class, Chinese women say some shit like, you know, oh, well, you need to stay out the clubs. I'm like, bitch, whoever said I was in the clubs? Are you asking me or are you telling me? That's one of my favorite phrases to say to people. Are you asking me or are you telling me? Well, no, I'm like, okay, well, why don't you ask first if I've ever been to a club in the beginning before you just assume because I'm black that I'm always up in the goddamn club? You see, this goes back to checking. This is what I was talking about in the beginning of this live stream. You need to start checking people hard because they're going to project their negative stereotypes onto you. And most of the negative stereotypes doesn't apply to black people abroad. All right. Most of the negative stereotypes don't apply to black people abroad. So when I would check women like that, then they would ask the question, okay, have you ever been to a club? Yeah, I've been to a club. I haven't been to a club since my early 20s. All right. I haven't been to a club since my early 20s. So what club are you talking about? And in Asia, you know, I mean, yes, in China, I've been to a few nightclubs out and about. Blacks aren't the only ones in nightclubs. The majority of people who go to these clubs are Asians and whites out here in bars. Those are the main ones who are attending these nightclubs out here. I'm going off topic a little bit, right? But when we talk about save yourself black men, and we haven't found the black women that we're, the type of black women that we're looking for, a lot of people will say, hey, well, you need to stay out the clubs because you're not going to find anything there. And it's like, are you asking me or are you telling me? Because I've never been, or I haven't been to a club in so long to where what you're saying, it doesn't even apply. It's irrelevant. Your type of advice is irrelevant and it's in bad faith. And then when they look stupid, you know what I'm saying? So that's why the guy last night, somebody came at me with a negative stereotype. And I said to him, I was like, okay, so if I came at you saying that you're just some karate expert, a garbage, quote unquote, karate expert, a self-proclaimed karate expert, and you look like Jackie Chan and a dog eater, then is that okay for me to approach you like that because of how he approached me? That's what I said to him. I didn't say that on purpose to insult him. I was saying that as an example. Okay, so I'm not disrespecting anybody Asian out there. It's just that I said that to him as an example because of what he said to me that was so offensive. And mind you, this wasn't a random person. This was like I went to a gym and they brought somebody, a staff member, to come show me around the gym and fill out all this paperwork, which I hate dealing with staff. I don't want to fill out a bunch of paperwork just to look at the gym first before I make my decision if I want to join this gym or not. Okay. And he said something that was very disrespectful in my eyes. And I had to go there to show him an example as to how negatively what he said affected me. just as much as if I said something that would have negatively affect him. I wanted him to feel the same way as me. And he tried to be apologetic, but I wasn't having it. I got up and I left, and I will not be joining that gym. If this is how you train your staff to treat people, I'm not giving you my money. And you don't need my money, but I'm not giving you my money. Okay? I'm going off topic just a little bit, but like I said, the acronym of Save Yourself Black Men, I like that a little bit more than MGTOW. Funny how that worked. We're supposed to just be spittoon of racial stereotypes. I don't think most people see us as human. Shaking my head. They don't even know they're doing it or just don't care half the time. Yeah, exactly. And no, they do know that they're doing it. The whole purpose of them saying it is because they don't care. And we need to get the talking point of I don't think they realize what they're doing out of our vocabulary. They know what the N-word means. They know certain stereotypical negative stereotypes are. That's why they're saying it. So, because with whites, you don't check them on it. Well, actually, with whites, you do check them on it. You don't say, hey, I don't think they realize what they're just saying. No, you don't play past that with whites. Most people don't. So don't do it to people just because English is their second or third language. Don't give people a pass based off of their English proficiency level, because to you, since you're not able to communicate with them all the way, it's almost like treating them like a toddler, because a toddler, you can't really communicate with them all the way because their English proficiency level is quite low as well. Check people the same way you would check other Americans back home. But let's get into chapter 1. Okay. So, on the first page, I want to talk about the presumed negative and the colloquial translations. Okay. So these are talking points that you hear coming from not only black women, but black men in society that, when you bring up an educated point, these are some of the things that they have to say as a rebuttal. Okay. You hate yourself. You're a sellout. You're a coon. You desire to be white. The presumed negative is you desire to be white. Now, I do agree and disagree with that because it depends on what you said. Okay, because there's a lot of coons out here. There's a lot of coons in the, there's a lot of coons with passports. Trust me. I would say the majority of people with passports abroad are coons. Throughout my time, I could honestly say I've only met about 3 people who weren't cooning. 3. The brother Fred, another brother from New York. I'm not gonna say his name. Another brother from New York. He wasn't coonish. And I just had him in mind. It slipped out. Oh, and there was another brother I met out here in Thailand. He went by So-So. Okay, I didn't know his real name. He just went by So-So. Now, he did something that I deemed like two out of the 3, they did something that I deemed as, all right, you shouldn't be doing that, even though I don't categorize that as coonish, which I had to separate myself from them for what they did. Okay. But I don't deem it as being coonish. Okay. But every other black person I met traveling abroad, they were extremely coonish. So when it comes to traveling, because this is, I do talk about hot topics in America, but y'all do know that I'm living abroad right now. I'm currently in Thailand. Okay. And I need to tie in the traveling aspect in all of this. Okay. I would say the majority of black people traveling abroad are extremely coonish. The majority. 95% of the black people you meet traveling abroad are extremely coonish. Even if they act like, oh, I'm preaching black positivity and I'm preaching the black culture. I'm trying to hold the black culture alive. I'm preaching black empowerment. Let me tell you, their actions say something totally different. I've met a few people like that. They try to sound smart, they try to sound intelligent, and they're no smarter than a bag of rocks. All right? You hate yourself. Now, why would somebody say that you hate yourself? There are times when people say you hate yourself because, hey, I'm seeing the current state of a lot of black women, a lot of our sisters today, and, a lot of women, they're not holding other women accountable. A lot of the behavior, like it's very negative. What a lot of women are projecting on the internet. I haven't really met a classy black woman in person nowadays who valued average black men, because they've already put it out there that they don't respect and they don't desire average black men. And not only did Kevin show that, I'm showing that. I've been showing that for years out here in Asia. Okay, you got these black women today that are working next to black men, living next to black men. They see black men here and there on a regular basis, and they don't desire to go after these black men because they're just average black men. They're not Pookie and Ray Raying it up overseas, and they skip right over them just to go to the racist Korean club, only to be shunned while they're playing music that looks like, from people that look like them in the club. But you got a brother on the other side of town who got 2 nightclubs and you don't want to go to his spot. Go figure. So when you put that out there, a lot of women will say, you hate yourself. Okay? You're a sellout. It depends on what you said. When you put it in the example that I gave just a few seconds ago, then no, you're not a sellout. No, you don't hate yourself. Now, is this indicative to all black women? No, I'm not saying all black women, but can you make a generalization as to the majority of black women? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. You know what I'm saying? I can't say 100%, but the percent that I might think are those women that that it doesn't apply to is so diminutive that I've never met these women. And a lot of us don't even know if they exist or not. Tell you the truth, this isn't me bashing black women. Like, throughout my lifetime, I've only met 2 black men who are just average, who got married, had kids with their black wives, right? And I found that to be inspiring. But one of them, he lost his wife. She left him. She became extremely insecure. This woman, she was a housewife. She didn't have to work. She never had to work, but she became so insecure that it just got unbearable, and then she left him. She left him, right? And the other brother, I think he's still married to this day. But I only know out of all the black men and black people that I've met throughout my life, I only know one couple who got married. Now, I do know somebody else, but I don't include him because, he had a famous dad. Actually, there are 2 others that I know who are married, but they have both of these guys, their fathers were famous, right? And they were like wannabe thugs growing up. You know what I'm saying? And one of them is still famous. So they had influence, and one of them became a pastor. So one of them who was a wannabe thug, then he became a pastor. I don't count him. I think he's still married to his wife to this day. You know, much respect to him, but the path he took in order to get his wife to marry her, I don't count that whatsoever. The other one, this person, his father's still famous. He's doing his thing, and it has to do with the entertainment industry. So, and his wife is doing questionable things right now that my mom brought to my attention. So I don't I don't include them either as well. Okay. I could only go by somebody who was just an average Joe Blow growing up, who wasn't thugging, good brother, educated, still married to this day. I only know one. Now, throughout my lifetime, I met thousands of black men. Okay. So I can't even say he's part of the 1%. That's like the 0.0001%. You dig what I'm saying? So when we say, well, not all black women, objectively speaking, like the percentage of black women, when I say not all, it's so low. You know what I'm saying? It's not because of what I think about them. It's just from what I've seen, from my experience. I don't have any other partners or know anybody else who's just average, educated, never been through the justice system, never been through the prison system for doing something, for breaking the law, for committing a criminal act, who's married, who's average. Like I can only name one, which is sad. How that Thailand life is pretty good. What about Sudan? And the example that you use, that's typically when it's said. Yeah, exactly. All right. But it's also said, I've also called people out for being coonish and self-hating when you're having a black empowerment discussion and it's shunned, or the subject is immediately changed, or the people in the conversation don't care. So I can't say that it's typically that. I call out a lot of coonish behavior from coons themselves. You know, I've never I've never had to call out somebody or say this to somebody because of them saying of what they've seen from black society when it comes to women. I've never had to say that. I've only said this amongst people like, what's a good example that we all know? See, recently they're trying to, they're taking down Young Thug, and they're re-releasing footage of at the BET Awards when he said, man, let the laws take care of that old shit. I think it was talking about Mike Brown, or I think it was Mike Brown at this situation, or I don't think it was Trayvon Martin. He wasn't out. Young Thug wasn't out when Trayvon Martin, when that tragic event happened to Trayvon Martin. I think it was Mike Brown, and he was just like, man, whatever with that Mike Brown shit. Let the laws handle all that. We iced out over here. We get money. Man, let the laws handle that. You know what I'm saying? He didn't have anything to say about. So that was coonish. That was extremely coonish. You see what I'm saying? But that's when I would call out something like that. Not because, man, what I'm looking for in my own community amongst my own women, I haven't found it. I would never call somebody out for that. I would never say that about somebody. Okay, so the next colloquial translation that's in this book is, you don't have game, you're gay, you ain't strong enough to handle a black woman. Basically, you have no sexual access to black women. I agree with that. You don't have sexual access to black women. And he could have added in there saying, well, that type of black women, I don't want that type of black woman. I want a woman who's more feminine. So when you reject black women, when there's a type of black woman that's in your face and you're like, hey, no, thank you. She's interested in you, but you're not interested in her. That's when they call you gay. Like, you crazy? What man wouldn't desire to have sex with me? You gay. You see what I'm saying? So that's I think he could have added that in there, but that part I do agree with. You don't have game. Number one, we can look at other black men. We can look at certain black men and say, hey, this person doesn't have any game. And we can't say that we've said that. But when a lot of these women desire to get with a non-black man, they get with. So if they say somebody doesn't have game because of them being socially awkward, the way they dress, the way they carry themselves, they don't really have a haircut, they go up in some of these other communities when they want to date non-black men, and they get with what's equivalent to the person that they said didn't have game that was black. You know what I'm saying? They'll get with somebody who don't really have a haircut in the non-black society, who can't dress, who might be a tad bit overweight, socially awkward, right? There's a black woman right now. I'm not gonna say which country. She has a YouTube channel. I don't know if she's been keeping up with the YouTube channel. She does a podcast with another girl. I'm not gonna say their name. I'm not even gonna describe them because that'll just give it away. But remember, I had a conversation with her over the phone. She's a YouTuber, and I asked her about her ex, and she was dating this Asian guy, who dropped out of school like in the 9th grade, could barely knew his own Japanese. Oh, I just gave it away. Barely knew his own language. He barely knew his own language. Barely knew the English language. Non-educated, homeless. Parents put him out there. I mean, this guy was a real loser. And then she brought him into his home. He was living with her. She gave this guy everything. So you're going after somebody who's a Pookie, Ray Ray, and Bum in another society, but you hold black men up to this high standard, which is one extreme to the next. So a lot of black women, I see them with one extreme to the next. If he's a Pookie and a Ray Ray, he doesn't really need to bring anything to the table. And you can arguably say that a lot of black women, they fuel this, they fuel the prison industry by their choices in men. So the stereotype of a lot of black men, a lot of women are co-signing it because this is who they get with. This is who they reward and give babies to. So you have some of these youngins out here who desire to be thugs and praise their fathers, even though they might have never met their fathers. They brag about how much of a quote unquote street nigga their father was. You know what I'm saying? Even though he might be locked up or dead right now, because they saw what their mother wanted. They saw what their sister dates. They see what other black women in the community dates. It's one extreme to the next. And you could arguably say that a lot of black women, they are foot soldiers for a lot of white supremacists and white supremacist organizations out here because of their choices in the dating world, in the dating game. Pookies and Ray Rays, man, as long as they're harming other black men, they will have a place to stay and they'll get black women's full-on support, right? They'll get black women's full-on support. Now, you either got to be extremely broke and a Pookie and a Ray Ray, but with quote-unquote potential, meaning you have the potential of getting out there and committing crimes, further perpetuating the negative stereotypes that are out there, and with Or on the flip side of that, if you've never been through the prison system, you don't have an edge to you, a street edge to you, then you gotta be extremely rich. You gotta spoil me with all your money. You gotta give me money whenever I want it. And let me tell you, I've known guys with money who had a relationship like that with a lot of these black women. Let me tell you, some of these guys, they would give black women money. Usually they would ask for money towards the weekend, getting closer towards the weekend, like on a Thursday, right? And they get that money on a Thursday or a Friday. They ask for a lot of money and they turn their phones off and they don't answer anything for the next like 3-4 days. The men don't hear from these women until like maybe Tuesday, right? So a lot of these women, they desire men who are making a substantial amount of money, a desired salary, but guess what? They drop the bag. They drop the ball in the bag every single time. They don't respect these men. They're just a wallet. And they don't even realize, okay, the money bag is going to go away just off your actions alone. Look at Megan Good, okay? Look at Megan Good. She got away from her husband, who was a pastor. You putting on for social media. You were fully clothed and dressed for years. You had a man who was making money, a pastor, an influencer, and then you leave him. Now you're back to showing your body up on social media, which basically shows you were never a reborn again Christian. You were just doing it for the bag and the status. Now you're getting back out here slutting it up on social media. All right. So don't think you need women. You need money for a lot of these women. Let me tell you, a lot of these women, they don't respect men with money. Okay. I was told real men pay bills, my aunt. But let me tell you, all the women that I've ever messed with, I ain't never paid a goddamn bill in my life. Real simpish men pay bills. You see, a real man is a husband. That's a real man, and they pay bills. Okay? But the only type of women who get that treatment are real wives. Real women who are wives. You're not obligated to my money if we're not married. You don't deserve shit if we're not married. You chose this life. And how do you get married? You got to be feminine, cooperative, and submissive. Let's keep going. So the next colloquial translation is, you got beat up by Pookie and Ray Ray and never let it go. Childhood school trauma. So those of you who have been bullied or whatever, who hurt you, a lot of women say, who hurt you? Oh, the Pookies and Ray Rays must have bullied you and this, that, and the third. I ain't never got bullied growing up. All right, so I don't know the feeling. So if you guys, there are people who have, and I always say, man, don't harbor that trauma. Okay, get help. There's a lot of people get bullied. I'm out here in Asia right now. Asian kids get bullied all the time out here. All right, so your experience is nothing unique. Okay, so for somebody to have to say that about you, it depends on how it's used. So when you're calling out certain things that's negative within Black society and somebody says, who hurt you, that's just like 5th grade insults. So I don't think it's necessarily trauma or whatever. I just think it's them making up shit as they go along. It doesn't necessarily mean you had a bully. Like, women have said, who hurt you growing up, and nobody's hurt me, but showing concern for people in my society or whatever. It's to push forward. You know what I'm saying? Besides going backwards, I think I have the right to express my concern. Okay. Anyways, you're a coward. You don't know your history. You're destroying the race. No racial pride, tribalism. Now, as far as that being used as an insult, I don't agree with the book because you don't know your history. Knowing your history is very, very important. Knowing your history is very, very important. And being well versed in other people's history is very, very important as well. Because let me tell you, when you don't know your history, a lot of people, they're going to try you out here. A lot of people, they're going to try you out here. And when you know their history, you're like, hold on, wait a minute. You guys don't come from that. You guys, this is that and the third. So what are you talking about? They get extremely quiet. So it's important for you to know your history and their history. You know, every year during Songkran, I always bring up the brother Lonnie, I think his name is Lonnie Johnson, okay, who made the Super Soaker, the water gun. If it wasn't for his invention, which is a black man, people wouldn't be celebrating Songkran in Thailand every single year. So I always remind people that a black man is the reason why you have Super Soakers and water guns. And his invention was like in the late 80s, early 90s. So y'all have only been celebrating the way you've been celebrating for the past 30 years. Minimum. Okay. But you're destroying the race. No racial pride. You need to have racial pride. So that's something I don't agree with. Somebody saying you don't know your history, then it's important for you to know your history, especially traveling abroad. Just getting a passport and then leaving your history and not learning about your history, that's not a good thing. Okay? You just want white women brainwashed by Eurocentric standards, by beauty. We've heard this on the pack of grizzly bears that came on to this platform a couple months ago. They try to project, oh, you just have a Eurocentric beauty standard. No, I just have a masculine beauty standard that I like. Okay. I like women with their own hair. I like women who are slim. I like women who are in shape. I like women with no tattoos. I like women who don't curse. I don't like women who refer to us as niggas. I'm going to do another live stream tomorrow talking about this woman named Jada Sheaves from Savannah, Georgia. The Shade Room posted up a video of her. I don't even know who she is, but she got 7 million followers on Instagram, right? I guess she's a singer. And Jada Sheaves, she was talking about how comparing men from the 80s and the 90s, right? Talking about back then, the men of the 80s and the 90s, I felt like they respected us more and they worshiped the ground we walked on. And the men today, they don't respect us. And these niggas today, blah, 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 blah. I think they're intimidated because we making more money today. Mind you, this chick was born on September 25th, 1997, talking about men of the 80s and the 90s. So this is some bullshit that her mother has been pumping into her head. You think, motherfucker, you 24 years old talking about men of the 80s and the 90s. At best, the only thing you can really speak on are the men in the 2020s. The 2010s and 20s, that's it. You can't speak on men from the 80s and the 90s. And as a matter of fact, the 80s and the 90s, women were more feminine. They had their own hair, all right? They desired to build with their men, make families, even though like there was heavy destruction. Yes, there was destruction going all around the nation in America. That's when the crack era hit and it destroyed a lot of black communities. But up into the 90s, man, when you went into the 90s, you did have crack babies or whatever, but you know, the church was a heavy influence on a lot of black people's lives. And it was all about families growing up in the 90s. Okay. So for some chick born in 1997, like the third or fourth quarter of 1997, talking about, oh, the men of the 80s and the 90s need to shut the hell up all the way. I'm going to do a video talking about that. Okay. But getting back to what I was saying, all right, this Eurocentric beauty standard, basically, oh, what you want in me, you want in a white woman, and I can't be that. That's bullshit. You know, I'm giving health advice all the time on how women can lose the weight. You don't have to hit a gym. You don't have to spend extra money hitting a gym. You just got to get rid of the cars. But guess what? Do black women listen to black men? No. They don't listen to you unless it's coming from somebody non-black. Okay. Let's see. Megan Good is with a Pookie Arab. Yeah, she's with a Pookie Arab who uses the N-word. I called him out for using the N-word on Instagram, and Disaster blocked me. All right, which I was never a follower of Disaster. I just came across his page one day, and I went through his posts, and I saw that he was using the N-word, beefing with somebody, and I called it out, and he blocked me. Who makes less than her and has less status than her former black husband. Yeah, mind you, Disaster, he's homeless. He's somebody in the battle world with a big name, but don't know how to monetize his his fame. You know what I'm saying? Like he was, I'm not gonna lie, I watched a lot of his old battles. Like he would destroy people, but he didn't know how to capitalize and monetize his own brand. And even Mouth Hoffa was talking about that. He was like, man, you have way more battles than me. You have way more views than me. And he was like, I don't want to hear you complain. He's like, how do I have more money than you? And you have way more battles, way more classic battles than me, way more views. And you don't know how to monetize your brand and your name. He's like, I don't want to hear you complaining no more. And he's right. Black family is already dead by angry mob. Black women just date out, brother. No, I'm not gonna do that. And this is something that I don't. This is something that I don't co-sign. Just date out, because dating out, what is that gonna do? What is dating out gonna do? And usually when somebody says just date out, they've never dated somebody non-black. They probably never been around that many women to make such a statement like that, like a dumb statement like that. That means you've never really been around that many women. You've never really had that many. You've never really dated and been around other races of women like that in your life. You haven't had that many women in your life to be saying something stupid like that. All right. Just date out. No. I'm not co-signing that. Dating out doesn't mean it's better on the other side. That's extremely coonish. That's coonish right there. Now, I don't mind somebody dating who they want to date, but just saying, hey, just date out, that's extremely stupid. Because I can tell when somebody says that, you haven't been with that many women in your life. That's just, it's a theory. It's a theoretical opinion, right? But it's not a theory based off of experience. White women have that leche, the milk. Okay. It's time for black men to save yourself. Okay. Every time women argue, they just gaslight. Yeah, true. It's time to replace. No. Hey, we're gonna put this brother on timeout. We're gonna put this brother on timeout. No, sir. We're not doing that. I'm not co-signing that. That's not what we're doing over here. That's coonish. Okay, I'm not doing that. Bro, Jamal Bryant out here dissing KS from the pulpit, shaking my head. I don't know who Jamal Bryant is. Never heard of him a day in my life. So I don't know all these, every name in the black manosphere. I don't know. I don't know these people. All right. But never heard of him before. Anyways, let's move on. So There was something that I wanted to. We're still on chapter 1, by the way. There was something that I wanted to address. Pro-black think tanks, dysfunctional communal norms. Is marriage for white people? I think that's an important topic to bring up because you got a lot of black women out here who, this kind of goes along with the Eurocentric way of thinking, how they don't mind being a baby mama, but they don't want to be wives. And you don't want to be wives. Why should men take you seriously? You see what I'm saying? So why should a man respect you if you don't want to be wives? You know what I'm saying? Like, you're a wanderer, renegade, ratchet ass woman. Why would a man why does a man need to respect you if you don't have the desire to be somebody's wife, to build? Because families build communities. That's what communities are. It starts with family. That's the foundation. And if you don't want to have families, then why should a man really give you the utmost respect? Not to say that they're going to disrespect you, but why should somebody hold you up in the highest regards if you do not want to be somebody's wife? See, I came from a 2-parent household. My mother and father, they're still together to this day. I just spoke to them earlier this morning. We talk like almost every day. In a group chat, now calling, do we call each other every day? No, but in a group chat, we're in a group chat. All right? My family's in a group chat. I grew up in a 2-parent household. So for somebody like me who saw 2 parents, a father get up every day, go to work, a mother get up every day in the morning, go to work, come back, focus on me and my homework, and my brother, my homework, making sure everything's done, teaching us about how to be responsible. I didn't see things in the lens that a lot of you guys have. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying you in particular, because some of y'all grew up with both parents, but as far as me, you know what I'm saying? I don't see things in the eyes of somebody who grew up in a single mother household, and they might desire to want to build what I had growing up. And that's what I want as well. So I'm not saying everybody that grew up in a single mother household is the same. But that's an interesting question. Is marriage for white people? Because a lot of black women, they make it seem like, hey, things have changed. Things have changed, right? So let's keep going, because I should have highlighted. That's what I'm going to do in the next live stream. I need to highlight some of the things he said. Because I don't want to read it word for word. I want you guys to go get the book. So I don't want to put everything from the book out there. They portray black women as a super victim. I do agree with that. They portray black women as the super victim. So let me read this passage. Okay. Professor Banks' view of Black America is consistent with the majority of hailing from the ivory tower of Black academia. That academic worldview, some call the leftist orthodoxy, presents problems within Black America as ones forever linked to white systemic oppression. Furthermore, the modern ivory tower tale portrays Black women as a super victim of sorts, valiantly enduring the attacks from white men, white women, and even Black men. To a certain degree, I agree with that, because a lot of hood rat behavior, a lot of these hood rats that act out in public, spaz out, who act crazy. We see it all on social media. A lot of other women aren't holding them accountable. And when the police come to arrest them, they're right back out the next day. They don't really do any long stints like that. They never really do any long, stints. It's like they put them back out there on purpose to keep making more babies so that they can further fuel the industrial prison system. So if we have more single mothers who act like this, creating kids and boys who are going to act like this, then we know that the boys are going to try to live up to their mother's standards and the women in the community, and then that's going to get them locked up. We'll hit them up on bogus charges, get them locked up, you know. And now within hip hop culture, and it's been like that for years, it's like, man, if you ain't been to jail, if you ain't been to prison, you're soft, right? You got women coddling men who are in and out of prison. The visitation rooms are filled up. So to a certain degree, I agree with that. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of women, they portray themselves as super victims as well. And I think that, you know, what Kevin Samuels, his work was doing was saying like, hey, are black men victims of anything, or are black men they're just the predators? Because that's what the dominant society and black women, that's how they make us out to be, that we're just the aggressors and the predators all the time. We're always dealing with one-way aggression. And how are we the predators if we're dealing with one-way aggression? You see what I'm saying? So I partially agree with what what's his name wrote in that book, Mad Bus Driver. Yeah, Thailand vids are really cool. What made you move recently to new place? Castle Me. That's a little bit off topic. Okay, it's a tad bit off topic, but I'll probably get into that in another video. I want to stay on topic, but I just live closer into the city center now, because before I was out there in a different province that edged Bangkok. But I like where I'm at right now, because the videos that I posted up on Facebook, the W Market, I didn't record. I did not record Nana Plaza, which I should go to Nana Plaza tonight and record, show you guys what Nana Plaza looks like. But it didn't take me that long to get there. Whereas like where I live, you know, it's still a bit rural. It's a rural area. You know what I'm saying? And it's like I'm moving in a house that you want me to rent, but it's kind of like I feel like I'm building everything from the ground up. I got to build a kitchen, cabinets, refrigerator, sink, you know, air conditioner. There was no AC units in there. What else? It was like why, you know, there was no water heater in there. It's like, why am I building this house from the ground up? It's like when I move in, I should only have to pay for damage deposit and rent. Why am I paying for all this other shit? So, you know, I came into the city and I was bummed out because like I wanted to get a dog, but now that I'm in a condo, and I got a really good deal on this condo, trust me. All right, I got a really good deal in this condo, but I can't get a dog, but I could probably get a cat. But I just won't get any cat. I get a Bengal cat. That's the only type of cat that I'll get, a Bengal cat. Look them up. So there's a lot of breeders out here that make Bengal cats. All right. So they going for like 1,100 out here. So I know if I were to be a Bengal cat breeder and take them over to America, I could probably flip that, triple that price. Anyways, let's stay on topic. If you want to get off topic, please at least put it in a super chat, donation. All right. Many, like Professor Banks, argue that some black communal norms are toxic to black women, which result in negative consequences for the black community at large. While black women have their unique challenges, people of all sorts have difficulties, and this is a common condition of the human experience. This does not mean that people should not voice their concerns regarding inequities and injustices. Nevertheless, the majority of the elites in black academia consistently posit a vision a black America that is inconsistent with the realities of black men in the face of they're saying black academia consistently ignores the plight of black men. And I don't think so. I don't agree with that. I don't think that black academia ignores the plight of black men. I think people that are in the boule, they ignore the plight of black men. And just because you have a degree doesn't mean that yes, you're educated, but are you mentally educated? So if you have a degree and you're putting out false narratives because somebody's paying you, you gotta appease your boss. And to me, I don't view you as black academia. They try to make the people that are classified as black academia as our leaders, which we don't have any leaders. All right, you shouldn't have any leaders. Your lineage should not have a leader. Your code should be the leader. But thing about it is how are you the black academia when you purposely put false narratives out there and you're ignoring a lot of people's see, the thing about it is the black grassroots who are, there's a lot of people in the black grassroots sector that are putting out, that are talking about the plight of black men. You see, Kevin Samuels, he was from the black grassroots. He wasn't the academia, but see, the thing about it is he uneducated? No, he was very well educated. But is he classified as what we deem as the black academia? No. See, Larry Elder and a lot of those cats, like, Jesse Lee Peterson, I guess those are who he would consider black academia, which are propped up by the Democrats, the Democratic Shield and the Republicans. But man, if it wasn't from the grassroots, I mean, why even take what they say seriously? I don't even listen to them, especially when they're spewing a bunch of nonsense. But people did respect and uplift Kevin Samuels. And he did not ignore the plight of black men. So as far as that part in the book, I will have to partially disagree with that, because who are the black academia? And do we really say what the black academia, quote unquote, do we take what they say seriously? No, we don't. Usually it's the older generation, the older church crowd who takes them serious. Okay. Let's see what else. The splintering of Black America notes that black women outnumber black men in universities 2-1. Okay. Well, I mean, there are more women than men. Naturally, there's going to be more women than men. And, you got a lot of brothers who are being railroaded into the prison system on false charges. There's a black person being taken out of they're being exonerated every single week, damn near, because of a lack of DNA testing, right? And they get a settlement, but the settlement isn't the equivalence of, there's no price you can put on a settlement. You spending that much time in prison. And look how much the system has made off of you. So that couple million that they're giving you is nothing compared to how much in tax dollars they've gathered and collected. All right. So a lot of people, they do push the narrative that, black women are more educated. And they're the most enrolled. Right. But you got, disproportionately, a lot of brothers are being railroaded into the prison system way more so than a lot of women out here. Really, that's by design, man. They want them to be educated and want them to represent themselves in the corporate world, because they think, hey, I'm doing something. How come they're not doing something? Well, they're not on my level. But these same women, they'll turn around and say how how I'm doing so much better than black men, but then when you call certain out the Pookie and Ray Ray behavior in the community, now all of a sudden they want to say, oh, but it's the white man this, the system that, the system this. See, they only push that narrative about the system when it benefits them in the moment, when it helps their argument in the moment. You know what I'm saying? It's like, hey, I'm doing so much better than them, but guess what? Okay, so this guy Yakuza, I've given you a chance. But you saying that black women is not God. Nobody said they were God. So Yakuza, you need to chill out, or I'm gonna ban you. Stop it. All right, just calm the fuck down. This is why I gotta ban some of you guys. Let's have constructive dialogue within the comment section. Stop acting like niggas. All right, god damn. This is my issue with black society. It's just I'm trying to have constructive dialogue and have a conversation. And you got a nigga showing his ass all the time while we're trying to chop up game. Anyways, so here's another part I want to point out in the first chapter that I want to scroll down to. The epicenter of black communal dysfunction is the black woman. Now, I would have to disagree with that. Men, you are the leaders. If you an alpha male, like most men classify themselves, alpha male, and you're a leader and you claim to be a self-proclaimed, and this is why when a lot of black men, they say that they're self-proclaimed alpha males, to me that always throws me off. You got a lot of self-proclaimed alpha males in the black community, but guess what? You're not projecting alpha male behavior. You're projecting a lot of beta male, delta male behavior, bitch made behavior. This is from what I see from a lot of brothers out here. All right. So a lot of black men need to be held accountable. If men, you're the leaders, and men, you're the leaders, and you're seeing that, okay, the behavior and the talking points that are coming from black women are very destructive. Okay. As an alpha male, you should hold women like that accountable and stray away from them. Okay. So do I think that the dysfunction, do I think that 100% of dysfunction is just only coming from black women? No. It's on both sides. So that part I don't agree. It's from both sides. It's from both sides. If you're waiting on the women to get their minds right, which, like I said, the whole point of this book is to go your own way. So you're not waiting on anybody. And I get it. I get it. But the thing about it is the men are equally just as responsible. If you're an alpha male and you're a leader and you co-signing everything that's going on, and you're not saying, hey, you know what, we're just nationwide, we're not going to deal with these women until you become feminine, cooperative, submissive, and, you know, you stop being destructive. And that doesn't really make you an alpha male. Okay, you're just a self-proclaimed alpha male. So that part I partially disagree with. Simply putting the statement in print disturbs the hive and calls for blind attacks. History tells of the erosion of black nuclear families' beginnings during the conversion of the civil rights era, black feminism and welfare reform. Since then, black women have claimed the status of being the backbone of a major U.S. political party. Okay, pushed media campaigns touting to be the most educated class in the United States. I do agree with that. Created the Black Lives Matter movement, which openly stated to be a disruptor of Western prescribed nuclear family structures. So the first two I agree with. The third one I don't agree with, because we know that Black Lives Matter wasn't started by Black women. Okay, it was non-foundational Black women who kind of spearheaded the campaign, but they didn't even start the Black Lives Matter movement. It's a white guy by the name of George Soros who started the Black Lives Matter movement. Then he got a couple of mammies who were Caribbean and African, well, Caribbean background, to kind of spearhead the campaign, right? But so that third part I don't agree with, and I don't lump, especially nowadays when we have, the FBA movement is very strong. We're not lumping Africans and Caribbeans into our mix, so they don't even count. They do not even count. Okay, the above are just a few standout actions by Black women that give credence to how they view themselves in relation to Black people as a whole. Save Yourself Black Men does not encourage any hatred toward Black women, and that's a good thing. And I haven't really seen that as far as the verbiage. I'm not here to lump all Black women into one, but like I said, and I'm being objective. I'm being objective because my whole agenda is I want men to get into the build the families that they've always wanted, have the family, have the offspring like they've always wanted, without being somebody's baby daddy or being a single father. All right, I want them to have the families that they want. Black men, regardless of, contrary to popular belief, Black men want families. They want to be married. They want to have their own families. All right. So a lot of the women who don't want to have families, they just want to be baby mamas. All right. But like I said, throughout my lifetime, and I can't speak for everybody globally because I haven't met everybody in America. I have traveled all around America, and I can honestly say that I've only seen one average Black man who was married with kids, no criminal record, didn't pretend to be a thug. I only know one. All right. So I'm trying to be objective. Save Yourself Black Men lifestyle and philosophy is opted to walk away from the all too common dysfunction of modern day Black society, degeneracies, evil, and morally bankrupt customs that sadly have been heavily promoted and pushed deeper into already decaying Black communities. And I get it. Some people, you just got to throw your hands and say, hey, I did my level best. I tried to offer my assistance, and I keep getting shunned. What else can I do? It's out of my hands now. The poison has seeped through the minds of a lot of people in Black society, and there's not more than I could do. But on the flip side of that, I don't like the defeatist mentality. I don't like the defeatist mentality either, because you got other people who are in worse conditions than in Black society. I'm in Thailand right now. Their condition, they're in a much worse condition than you. All right. South America, a lot of those people are in much worse conditions than you. The violence and all the other crime that's going on in their communities is a lot higher than what's going on in your community. But guess what? And a lot of them, having outside influences, can you arguably say that the outside influence that has been you know, kept people in a disenfranchised economic status in some of these other countries, has the hand and the fist hit a lot harder in their communities than ours? I don't believe that. But do those in a dominant society have a global ruling? Yes. But they've allowed people to maintain their own communities, right? They've allowed people to maintain their own communities, right? So what people do with it, how people rule it, even though they do have an influence, at the same time, they've allowed them to do their own thing. So Saudi Arabia, okay, what outside influence, what hand is dealt with them through them that has a heavier hand than what's being dealt with, being served to Black society in America? You know what I'm saying? It's Japanese people, Koreans, Singaporeans. Well, I mean, that's British influence, Hong Kong, British influence, China. You know what I'm saying? A lot of what they do is at their own free will. It seems like men way back when all knew about women's true nature, and recently men just relearning. You think so? Why men forget for so long? Well, man, you know, we've all known about women's true nature from the Bible, and even before the Bible, the stories in the Bible are old stories that came out of ancient Egypt. Okay, these are old stories that have came out of ancient Egypt. The names have changed. Okay, so the story of Adam and Eve, I mean, that's an old story. You know, Jesus was based off of a guy who was born out of a cave in Ethiopia. And, you know, I mean, these are old ancient stories. So the first relationship in the Bible, Adam and Eve, basically the story was showing man's failure of checking women's natural rebellious nature. Okay, when you leave them to their own devices, then most of the time, man, they self-sabotage and they destroy themselves. Okay, you leave a woman to her own devices, I mean, that's a destruction waiting to happen. It's a ticking time bomb waiting to happen. So we've always known about man's or women's natural rebellious nature. The thing about it is, it's man's failure to check them because of how weak they are. A lot of men they become weak around women because of they yearn for a woman's touch and sex, and that's really where a lot of men fall short. To get a nut off, those few minutes of sex means everything to a lot of men. You know, the pat on the head coming from women's soft nature, and a lot of women today, they're not soft whatsoever. They're not the soft-natured women that we've grown to think they were, right? So, I mean, in my opinion, it's easier for you to check a lot of women's rebellious nature, but a lot of men, they tailored their game to try to give women what they want, when it should be the other way around. Women need to figure out, okay, what do men want so that I can be taken care of later on in life? Because, you know, naturally, let's just be honest, naturally, what do you need women for? And everybody says procreation, but it's kind of like, okay, look how that's going. That's going to shit right now. That's going to shit right now. That doesn't seem like I'm getting the good deal out of the bargain right now. I mean, yes, my legacy carries on, but my legacy isn't being carried on in our house. It's being carried on in your house. From far away, from a distance. right? The best, what does that say? The best block is not to be there. Okay. Um, let's go over to chapter 2. So in chapter 2, the Mad Bus Driver is talking about understanding the lay of the land. So in chapter 1, he's introducing, giving you guys an introduction. And like I said, there's some things I agree with, some things I don't agree with. And it's not 100% I agree with. It's just I partially agree with. And this is a short book too. This is a short book. So when I say I disagree with, it's just I partially agree with certain things. But you know what I'm saying? In my opinion, I'm not saying it's wrong. Understanding the layout, it starts off by him saying, black men, you are losing. I know some of you would disagree, but it's true. When I first came to this conclusion, I didn't want to believe it either. The full magnitude of the situation came upon me as I embarked on digital excursions throughout social media. Yes, I know that social media is an imperfect mirror of real life. Nevertheless, the medium does provide insights into people, lifestyles, and culture and image. Yes, and I've talked about how social media is playing a role. It's a major tool and a major weapon behind the destruction of a lot of women's minds today. The family structure, like it's a tool. It's part of media. So medium, mind control, the idiot box, which is known as the television, was used for that at one point in time. Now it's social media that's used for that at this time. And voluntarily, a lot of people are saying, okay, well, these are what women are voluntarily putting it themselves out there. But see, the thing about it is people are voluntarily putting out content, destructive content that is going viral. They know what goes viral. All right. And what goes viral is manipulated by these media outlets, you know, these people that control media outlets. For example, I'll never forget back in, I think it was 2007. No, 2009. Okay. One of my partners from Detroit, you know, he noticed I was posting up crazy shit on my Facebook page. And it wasn't anything crazy as far as like, it was just jokes, right? Text, not stupid pictures, not videos, just jokes. And then he called me up. He was just like, you know, we were just laughing about it. He was saying, you know, what's crazy is like, I noticed some of the jokes that you put up, the crazier they sound is like the more likes you get. And you know, that's just how it is. You know, it's kind of like, he went on to say, you know, when you were putting up positive comments up there, you know, you may get 2-3 likes on Facebook. You know, only 2 or 3 people would actually feel it. But you know, when you post up your jokes, it's like 40 people like it, 50 people like it. You know what I'm saying? And you know, he's like, that's odd. You know, look at our society today. It's just kind of like they gravitate towards more of the bullshit on social media. You know, and when it is bullshit, it's kind of like the algorithm picks it up and it probably shows it to more people. So I remember one time we came up with an idea, like in that same conversation, I was like, you know what, I should put up something up there about sucking a fart out of a woman's ass or something, just to see what that would do. You know what I'm saying? As a matter of fact, I should post something positive first and see what that does within a couple hours, and post up sucking a fart out of a woman's ass or something of that nature. Right after that, just to see which one gets the most engagement. And I did that. And he's like, yeah, you should do that. So I did that. And the positive post that I made on Facebook, it only had like 1 or 2 likes or whatever. But the disgusting shit got a bunch of likes and got a bunch of comments, had a bunch of engagement. And people like, whoa, damn, that's how you really feel? You know what I'm saying? And then he called me back laughing like, damn. So with all these fight videos, because this is when World Star was just taking off. So all these fight videos or whatever, it's kind of like people are just gravitating more towards the negative shit, or that's just because of the algorithm and what that is. That's just what is being projected to more people, and a lot of people are consuming it. So with social media nowadays, social media being a tool, right? Social media being a tool, it's kind of like if you're not engaging in fuckery, then you're not going to get any promotion. You're not going to you pretty much aren't going to get eyes on your social media page, especially if you have a brand and you're trying to find a way to make money. You know what I'm saying? Because now they're giving you a platform to have an audience so that you can make money. A lot of people they're making all their money on social media. Kevin Samuels, for the last 2 years of his life, even before the 2 years, he was making substantial amount of money off of social media when he was talking to the men. Then he moved to Atlanta. Then, it was like now, but for like the last 2-3 years of his life, all his money was being made off of social media. He became rich off social media. Went viral off social media. Not in a negative way, in my opinion, even though a lot of people brought negativity towards his way. But you see, some of these platforms, they blew up off of negativity. So a lot of people mention World Star Hip Hop, but World Star Hip Hop, man, they were showing a lot of fights. They were showing a lot of shit from DVDs, clips from different DVDs in the beginning, right? But to be honest, World Star was showing everything. You know what I'm saying? So they were not only showing black people fighting, they were showing white people fighting, Hispanic fighting, Asians fighting, animals. And they were showing a lot of interesting things on. So, but, they were only known for a lot of the negative shit that was about black people on there. You go on World Star, even to this day, they show everything. They even show interesting videos on there as well. So, but the talking point is they're only showing black negativity on there. You see what I'm saying? But it's still, social media is still used as a tool. It's still used as a tool to help shape and mold the minds of a lot of young, impressionable people out there, especially women. They know, okay, if I put out a certain type of content, this is what the algorithm is going to pick up, and this is what they're going to show, and this is how other young, impressionable minds are going to become influenced. So yes, I do agree with that. Social media is being used as a tool. Haram is becoming easier and more trendy than practicing halal. Yeah, and a lot of people do certain things that are trendy. What about white supremacy? As an excuse for the negativity portrayal of black men, let me issue the following reminders. Black women outnumber black men by over 1.8 million. That's true. Black women have campaigns and business ventures such as Black Girl Rocks, Black Girl Lead, You OK Sis, 1 million Black Women, National Coalition of 100 Black Women, Inc., Black Girl Freedom Fund. And that's the thing, like, instead of, including all black children, because I never agree with that either. And he's in black, man, Bus Driver is right. Because I remember when Black Girl Rock first came out, it's kind of like, why not just make black kids rock, black children rock? Why are you excluding the black boys? You're leaving you're sending a negative message towards black boys. Like, so I do agree with that. I I do agree with that. Sending a bad, to me, a negative message for these black boys out here. As a 2022, black women represent 58% of the black caucus seniority. Let's see what else. So he talks about playing victim. Back in 2014, then President Obama launched My Brother's Keeper. Wait, hold on. Let me back up a little bit. Black women create a variety of movements and organizations that focus on themselves. Yes, I do agree with that. The majority of black women, they do that instead of including all black children. Nevertheless, when black men do the same, black women tend to interfere, play the victim about being excluded, and destroy what the black men are accomplishing. Consider a couple of examples: interfering and playing victim. I do agree with that. Finally, you had a man standing up for the men, right? And guess what? Black women were showing their asses. Even though, when Kevin Samuels, he Dr. Tiasan Johnson, he does a good job as well on his platform, speaking up for black boys and black men out there as well. So salute to Dr. Tiasan Johnson. I strongly I strongly advise you guys to subscribe to his channel. He's doing good work out there in the Bay. So, subscribe to that brother right there. But when brothers stand up for boys and black men, it falls on deaf ears. And someone like Kevin Samuels, he gave the heat on both sides, even though there were things I disagree with as well. But he gave the heat on both sides, and black women only focused on what they heard. And even though it was the truth, it's just the fact that you're saying, see, black women, they get mad. Yes, it's the truth, but the fact that you're saying it and you're putting it out there, they're on alert. They had to go on alert. Just the fact that the truth that somebody was, shining a light on what was going on in black society amongst black women, holding them accountable for their actions, just like how they try to hold us accountable for our actions. They didn't like that. That's what all that was about. My Brother's Keeper MBK program, its aim focused on helping to offset the often detrimental outcomes of young black, Hispanic, and American Indian boys. I don't like that all inclusion groups. So that program that he put out there, I don't like. Don't lump us in with Hispanics and Indians. Don't lump us in. You know what I'm saying? It's just, don't do that. So I didn't like that program that President Obama put out there. As a matter of fact, I didn't like Obama as a president. I don't like Obama at all, really. I don't have, his presidency, his policies. I didn't like what he did. You know what I'm saying? I voted for him the first term. Second term, I did not vote for him. You know what I'm saying? And that's something that we learned, them just putting a quote unquote blackface in office. I do agree. It was Michelle Obama that gave him his credibility. You know what I'm saying? And he played off of that and took advantage of everybody. And, I didn't like him as a president. Some of the challenges faced by this group as listed on the MBK website includes high school graduation rates for black and Hispanic students, 16 and 12 percentage points lower than white students, respectfully. Many districts see 50% graduation rates are worse for boys of color. Why would they, and my thing is, why would they lump us? Why would they say boys of color? you know, if you take out the inclusion of Hispanic males, would that dropout rate decrease? I'm wondering. You know what I'm saying? How much would that dropout percentage rate would decrease if you just only focus on black males? And look at the environment. You know what I'm saying? When you disenfranchise, see, a lot of that does play into white supremacy. When you look at, our disenfranchised community that's out of our hands for the most part, because we had our own communities at one point. And those got burned down. Those got burned down with napalm. All right. It's the same thing out here in Asia. The dropout rate the dropout rate. See, the thing about it is they this is how they manipulate the dropout rate, because technically they try to make it seem like no child is left behind out here in developing countries, especially like Thailand. What they do is they go by grades, but their grades is called Matium 1 through 6. So at a high school, it's Matium 1 through 6. Okay. Matium 1 through 3, you have to be there, and it's optional for you to come to school through Matiums 4 through 6. All right. That's optional. So a child doesn't have to go to school anymore. They could graduate after Matium 3. It's optional for them. They could stop going to school after Matium 3. So it doesn't really count as them dropping out of school. You see what I'm saying? M4, M5, M6, grades 4, 5, and 6, they choose to be there. More than likely, they choose to be there. They're going to further continue on with the education, right? And more than likely, they're not going to drop out because they choose to be there, and more than likely it's because their family can afford it, right? So 17, 16, 15. So at 14 years old, I think M3, they're 14. M3, they're 14. So after 14 years of age, when they complete M3, they can drop out of high school. You see what I'm saying? So that's how they manipulate the dropout rate. So it's kind of like, oh, our students aren't dropping out, but they can graduate at M3 or M6. They could choose not to come to school anymore after M3, and they still get their diploma. It doesn't count as them dropping out. You understand? And they know they're going through economic hardships. So it doesn't really count as them dropping out. And a lot of people, they'll come from these cultures and brag about, oh, we don't have a dropout rate like you guys or whatever. But when you actually visit the country and learn the culture and understand the culture, you'll see, hey, no, they give you options to drop out after 14 years old, and they don't count it as a dropout. You understand? So crime, only 6% of the overall population. Black males accounts for nearly half of all murder victims. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. I mean, it is high, but crime is crime. All right. Just because you go up in economic status, you go from lower class to high class, and the high class community, upper class community, man, there's still crime there. Now it's a different level of crime, but there's still crime there. There's still crime there. I don't want to get too technical, but man, the crimes that are committed in the upper class is a lot more severe than what you would think in the lower class. Of course, the lower class of any country, the crime is going to be a lot higher. The crime is going to be a lot higher. Okay. How do Black women receive this initiative? Feminist and law professor Kimberly Crenshaw wrote a condemnatory piece of the New York entitled "The Girls Obama Forgot." A petition of 1,000 influential women of color, led by Alice Walker and the African American Policy Forum, promptly found its way to Obama's desk. It too decried of the president's exclusion of black girls with the MBK program. Even a group of prominent MAGAs created a second letter to Obama backing the complaints of their Dago masters. All right, so yeah, it's like if you do something for them, you got to do something for us. And you already have a bunch of movements going on for you. Then in 2009, Obama opened up the Council on Women and Girls. A president, I mean, you already have a bunch of groups for women, but they don't like it when you do specifically for black boys. All right. So we're not valued by our women like that. We're tolerated, but we're not appreciated. We're not valued. And and I do agree with that. Then he goes on to talk about the Detroit 300. I remember the Detroit 300. Those were brothers out there that were trying to stop the senseless crime and killings that were going on in Detroit. And, they were doing good work out there. And these were fathers that were like, nah, we're going to put an end to all this bullshit that's out here. But at the same time, if you're going to put an end to that, you got to replace it with something more constructive. So just saying stop, it's kind of like, and partially I do agree with that, man. If that's your only way of means, if that's your only means of getting money, you know what I'm saying? You could do that without harming each other. You know what I'm saying? But harming each other, there's business in that as well. There's business in that as well. People pay you to get rid of somebody. And then on top of that, you got the organ harvesting business. So who knows? Who knows, man? Like at times, man, a lot of the crime that's going on in some of these communities, you don't know what's being manipulated. Who's manipulating that or who's perpetuating the crimes that's going on in some of these communities, man. You don't know, because on the black market, the organ harvesting, I mean, do you know how much money, do you know how much you can make for black organs? Do you know how much money it costs for black organs? It's insane. There's a lot of money in that a lot of people don't talk about. So a lot of the crime that's being done, that's happening in these communities out here, will it ever go away? See, black crime is a lot lower now than what it was in the 90s and the early 2000s. Okay, especially the 80s. Do you think all those black organs for all the people that have died have just gone to waste? We just gonna throw them down the toilet? No, they were put on ice. With or without your consent. Don't matter if you have it on your driver's license. Yes, I'm an organ donor. No. They're going to take it regardless. But anyway, let's get back to the Detroit 300. There were a neighborhood crime deterrent group based in Detroit that formed due to increased violent crimes that were plaguing local black neighborhoods. The organization was formed by black men who were tired of seeing criminals hurt and kill innocent people in their communities. The galvanizing crime that led to the men aligning to fight local crime was a home break-in and assault by 3 black teenagers. After invading the home and assaulting the woman there, the 2 older boys, 17 and 18 years old, raped, the R word, the woman. She was 90 years old. And that's disgusting. All right, that is disgusting. And that hit home for a lot of, especially the men in that society, because it's kind of like, okay, we don't come from that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that goes on in the dominant society. See, that type of shit happens all the time in the dominant society, but in our communities, that's why it hit home for us, because we don't come from that. It would seem as though black women would rally behind such efforts by black men to protect the neighborhoods. Yet history tells a different story. In regards to the Detroit 300, even after successfully working with the Detroit Police Department to capture and arrest an untold number of violent criminals, their organization would be shut down for being incensed over a crime just as horrific as the crime that brought them together. On a cold February day, police and the Detroit 300 responded to a drive-by shooting of a home rattled with at least 40 bullets. One of those bullets ended the 9-month life of Delrick Miller. Okay, the Detroit 300, who were changing the long black communal no snitching practice, got leads about the vehicle driven and its possible owner. Following the track led the group to 2 black women who agreed to meet the Detroit 300 at a police station. Since the Detroit 300 are not police, the questioning interrogation took place within the garage with police present. This resulted in a lawsuit filed by the 2 women, which crushed the crime-fighting organization. 3 unhinged black male teens raised in single mother-led households caused the formation of the Detroit 300. 3 single black women, the lawyer hired was a black woman, played a vital role in destroying it. Against black men, we're losing. So I'm glad he brought that up because I did not know, because I always thought the Detroit 300 was continuing. I thought it was still an organization that was still together to this day. And I didn't know, I was always curious as to, how they've been doing. And hearing about this, this is insane. So, I commend those brothers for coming together and policing their own neighborhood, but for it to get destroyed by black women because they were interrogated in a garage while the police were present, brought down a lawsuit. I don't know what was the settlement over that lawsuit. They probably sued the city and they got paid. That got destroyed. And, since it's vigilante work and, law enforcement was working with them, it's kind of like, okay, I don't know if the city can, but at the same time, you got the government weaponizing a lot of these white Boogaloo Boys and, organization groups out here, them militarizing some of these groups out here as well, allegedly. All right. So, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. Why file a lawsuit against them and get rid of the organization when you got some of these other white organized groups out here that are being militarized and stuff, things of that nature, allegedly. So that's the thing. They don't want crime to stop out there. The blackest city in America, they don't want crime to stop. All right. So a lot of money involved over death. The funeral homes, the people who handle the embalming of a lot of these bodies, people who make caskets and organ trafficking, the medical centers. I mean, they make money all around. All right. They profit off of the deaths. Then he talks about scraggle daggles. I've never heard of this word before. I mean, that must have been a term that he created. He goes on to talk about scraggle daggles. Describes an ignorant, ghetto-minded female as a rule of thumb. Living in the ghetto doesn't make a female. Scraggle daggle, taking on the mindset and conduct does. In Black American culture, ghetto-minded females not only seem to be the norm, they are glorified. And there's a lot of women who don't come from impoverished neighborhoods who are influenced by some of these women that he deemed as scraggle daggles. You see what I'm saying? They become influenced by them. And it's kind of like, well, if I'm not acting like that, then I'm a nobody. So you're stooping down to a ratchet's level because it's popular. And I don't, we're starting to see that because this influence is carrying on throughout the globe. So now you got a lot of women overseas in Asia, Canada, South America, who are carrying themselves on like the negative stereotypes of a lot of black ratchet women on the internet, carrying out their voice inflections and their actions and their attitude and mindset towards black men, thinking, okay, I'm acting this way because I want to attract black men. And like I said, social media is a tool. So at one point in time, when you had a woman who just, acted like, what traditionally Asian and Hispanic, women used to act like back in the days. Now it's kind of like they're trying to act like hood rats because it's popular, it's trendy, and it gets them more attention on the internet. All right. So I'm going to stop right there. Like I said, so far, man, Bus Driver, the first 2 chapters, he makes good points. I'm glad he brought up the Detroit 300. I'm glad he brought them up as an example. And how it took for black women to kind of shut down that organization. What things that have changed, like if law enforcement was working closely with the Detroit 300, would the organization still be around today had they have been interrogated by them in a police department? I don't know. Was it because they got in, not so much them getting interrogated, but was it because they got interrogated in a garage that led them to sue them, or what was it? Or were they just using this opportunity to stop their movement in general? I don't know. And you know what? Some, those in a dominant society, they make up the rules as they go along anyway. So I'm going to open up the lines. I want you guys to call in. What do you think about this book? Have you read the book? What are your opinions on this book? What do you agree with and what don't you agree with about some of the things I read? I didn't want to read the entire book. I want you guys to read it for yourself. Once again, this stream is sponsored by Russian Spy Sleazeball. He's the one that sponsored this stream, man. And we're gonna have more. We are gonna have more live streams on this book. How many chapters in there? I'll do like 2 chapters at a time. How many chapters? 21. So we could do like 9 or 10 live streams just off of this book right here. Take it two chapters at a time. All right. Now, does anybody have any comments, questions, or concerns? Let me know what you think. Do you agree with some of the talking points in the book? What don't you agree with some of the talking points in the book? There were some things that I did agree with. There are some things that I did not agree with. If you feel like, hey, why don't you agree with that talking point? Let me know. Why don't you agree with what he said right there? Let me know. Anything that's on your mind, let me know. Okay, but like I said, we're not here to bash black women and it's, as a whole. I do understand to save yourself, the meaning behind it. I do and I don't, but as the Detroit 300, they didn't save themselves by moving out of Detroit. The Detroit 300 said, no, this is the city I grew up in. This is where I'm from. This is my city, and we need to take care of it. And if law enforcement isn't really going to do much about stopping crime, you know what I'm saying? And you're not offering any jobs, any way, or, you're not offering a way or a means for these brothers to make money in the city of Detroit, then, you know what I'm saying? We're going to step in and we're going to give solutions. We're going to stop the crime and then we're going to work on some way, somehow, to get these brothers to have a means of income of coming in. You see what I'm saying? So, I commend them for that. I might be able to get the Mad Bus Driver to visit the channel to speak more about this book. He did project collaboratively with other members. Okay. I mean, if you can get him on, he doesn't have to. He doesn't have to go live. He doesn't have to be live if he wants to come up here. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't have to go live because I know he wears a helmet. And me personally, I don't know enough. I know who he is. I don't know enough about the content on his channel. I think I've only seen one video from him. I know he wears a helmet, and I get it. I get it because you got to protect your identity out here, because when you don't protect your identity, a lot of these women, they'll hunt you down. They'll stalk your page. They'll stalk your followers. They'll harass people on your friends list. If you're putting out the truth. I get it. We've seen that happen with the Grizzly Bears earlier. You know what I'm saying? So, a couple months ago. So, man, we could break down this book chapter by chapter. Like I said, this is sponsored by Russian Spy. All right. I'm kind of curious as to how he came up with that name, Mad Bus Driver. I'm kind of curious as to how he came up with that name. But I've only seen one video from him, and that was years and years and years ago. But I mean, if he wants to come up to the channel, I mean, anybody's more than welcome to call in. Anybody and everybody's more than welcome to call in. But as far as getting a passport, you see, that's not even, because one of the things he mentioned in the book, I think it was in chapter 1. He said, one of the solutions is just like, one of the solutions, not the main solution, but one of the solutions is actually getting a passport and traveling and dating women from other cultures. Man, that's not the best solution. I'm not saying that's a bad solution. You should date whoever you're compatible with. But, like the person earlier who commented, talking about You know, we should. What did he say? I'm paraphrasing what we said, man. We should date other women of other races and stop dealing with black women. I'm like, you should date women who hold these qualities, feminine qualities, regardless of race. See, when you're only looking at race, that's the problem with a lot of black people who travel abroad. They only look at race, and that's how you get fucked up in the game. That's why a lot of black men are going through the most over in Pattaya right now in Thailand, Pattaya, Thailand. And they're only looking at race. They're not looking at the qualities. And you'll find out that a lot of the women that these men are chasing around in Pattaya, they have the same qualities of a lot of black women who they complain about in America, the ratchet black women that they complain about in America. So I'm not looking at race. I'm looking at your personality. And let me tell you, the personality traits of a lot of women that a lot of brothers go for are extremely terrible or shitty, right? It's this, they're falling into the arms of the same type of woman out here. All right? Falling in the arms of the same type of women. And the thing about it is black men, you know, you kind of hold black brothers with passports, you hold the ball is in your court and you drop the ball because of simpish, thirsty behavior. All right. The helmet exudes charisma and cloaks is handsome. Okay. Russian spy, are you mad bus driver? You used to be a bus driver legitimately. Okay. Okay, I didn't know that. I'm talking about and the highs in his handsomeness. I'm like, okay. All right, brother. All right. Does anybody else have any questions, comments? Does anybody want to call in? This is the thing that gets me. A lot of brothers, they always want me to talk about certain things and topics, and they want me to bring people on. And then when I open the floor for people to call in, nobody calls in. You know what I'm saying? But you always want me to interview people. And I don't mind interview people, but I don't reach out to nobody for interviews. If you want to chop up game, the link is right there. All right? The link is right there. I'm not saying I'm better than anybody, but let me tell you, you get up here on YouTube and have an interview-based YouTube platform, and let me tell you, and you let me know how stressful that is and how annoying it is. Try getting a bunch of black folks to interview for your platform for 1 month and see how annoying it is. I don't like reaching out to black people for interviews. I don't mind doing interviews with black people, but I did that years ago, trying to reach out to black folks about doing interviews, and it was nothing but nigga shit. You know, it was nothing but nigga shit behind the scenes that made me be like, all right, F this. I got enough experience in game where I could chop up on this platform and I could do this by myself. You know what I'm saying? So to be the great, yeah, day one, that's Mad Bus Driver. I remember him. Yeah. Be the great. Salute to Be the Great. All right. So, does anybody have any comments, questions, concerns? The link is right there. I'll give you guys maybe 1 or 2 more minutes because I already been chopping it up for 2.5 hours. Salute the Russian Spy for the $5 super chat donation. Have you ever used Skip lag for travel. What is that? What is that? I've never heard of that before. And yes, brothers out there, the super chat link is working. All right. I've never heard of that. Skip lag. It's an airfare search engine for cheap flights. Nah, I only use I use Google Flights. I use Google Flights. Seems like most of the flights are going to America. Yeah, see, I'm looking at some of the flights right now. Google Flights, the rates are a little bit better. I like Google Flights way more than Skip Lag. Skip Lag, it's probably, it look like it's good for it looked like it's good for flights within America, but I think Google Flights is way better. You know, they're the way the UI is set up is pretty good. The way their UI is set up pretty good. Another thing, man, we're planning a trip in October. All right, we're planning a trip for October. You know what I'm saying? I said let's go to Dubai. You see, Skip Lag, I just looked up a flight to Seoul and they said round trip was $412. But I just found the same flight round trip from here to Seoul for like $280. So it's a lot cheaper in my opinion. Also, you left Taiwan just in time. China might invade it soon because America can't afford another war such as Ukraine. Yeah, I heard that they have some Chinese warships surrounded. They surrounded the island, and the cases in Taiwan right now is at 60,000. It's extremely high right now. The you know what cases is at like 60,000 over there. Because Thailand was really, really high at one point in time. And Thailand was like, oh, we're just going to push through it then. We're just going to open up the floodgates and end this thing. And so well, let me look at the cases from, I think the cases from yesterday was, I could have sworn it was like, I looked at it yesterday. Yeah, it was like 65,000. It was 65,000 yesterday. So they might be using this as a tool. 41 deaths, 65,000 cases. So yeah, you're right. I did leave in time. Anything else? Anything else? Does anybody have anything else that's on their mind? Anybody want to call in? Okay, tomorrow I want to break down what this young woman said about men from the 80s and 90s, or I just might turn that into a video. I might not even do a live stream. I just might turn that into a video. What's her name again? Jada Sheaves. A chick who's only 24 years old talking about the men from the 80s and the 90s. Get all the way the hell up out of here. Get all the way the hell up out of here. Referring to men as niggas. You see, this is why men don't respect you, because you're referring to them as niggas. So why should men respect you? If you reduce me to a nigga. Okay, so that's all that I have for today. It's been 2.5 hours. Guys, hit that like button on your way out. Hit the subscribe button on your way out. Share this video. Leave a comment below. Donate to the Cash App. Damn, I didn't even put it on the screen. Donate to the Cash App, $Splashwave Beats. You could donate to the PayPal. Donate to the Cash App on your way out. You can donate to the PayPal on your way out. Link is in the description box below. If you want to become a Patreon member, link is in the description box below. I uploaded a few videos to Facebook and Patreon that's not on YouTube yesterday. So if you want to watch those videos, join the Patreon page, support through the Patreon page. Link to the Facebook group is in the description box below. If you want to join and become a YouTube member, click the join link. Okay, the link that says join, click that. All right, we over and we out. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.